What's up, Fallible Nation? Hey, it's another Monday night. Welcome to Fallible Nation Live. We are so excited to be here with you tonight. I love Mondays because I love hanging out with you. And it's just amazing that you are choosing to be here with us. So thank you for that gift. Shout out in the comments. Let us know you're here tonight. Get involved in the conversation. It makes it so much fun. Whether you're with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, guys, we see you. We appreciate that you're here, and we want you to be part of the conversation, and we can see you on all those platforms. Do you ever feel like there's a little voice inside your head constantly tearing you down? Don't worry, you're not alone. We all have an inner critic, if I can talk straight. But the good news is you don't have to let it control you anymore. In this show, we're going to explore 6 powerful strategies that will help you conquer your inner critic, inner voice, and overcome that negative self-talk once and for all. And yeah, we've talked about negative self-talk a lot because it's a very real problem. Maybe not for you, but for a lot of people. And I think part of the reason you're here is because it's a problem for you. I know it's a problem for me, right? I'm supposed to stand up here and have all the answers. I don't. I can tell you this is something I work on all the time. So are you ready to transfer your mindset and start living your best life? Then start with starting to notice, right? That's the first thing. Let me just get that to you right up front. Starting to notice. Inner critics like to whisper and to never speak out loud, right? It's that faint voice in the back of your head going, "You suck. I told you couldn't do it." The last thing your inner critic really wants to be noted. I can't talk tonight. I'm sorry, guys. The last thing that your inner critic really wants is to be noticed in its nefarious schemes, right? By paying attention to what's actually going on in your head, guys. Slowing down, you draw their lies out into the light where it can't stand. So the first step to successfully negotiate this is to start noticing. Now, if you're ready to get your inner voice under control, stick around for the rest of the show. Let's get into it. Now, guys, do I look dark tonight? Is it me? I look dark tonight. I don't know. Vanity. Vanity running amok, I guess. I don't know. Guys, no matter where you're joining us from, we really do love you being part of the conversation. And this is what makes it fun for us. We love to do the show because we love to interact with Fallible Nation. You guys are the reason we do all this, and we love joining in the conversation with you. It makes it a lot of fun. So wherever you're at, whatever platform you're on tonight, jump in the comments and start talking to us. We can see you on every platform, and we're right there with you. Okay. Number 2, no matter what platform you're on, there's a link in the show notes in the description below the video you're watching right now that has 2 options on the same link. One, if you don't think you're going to be able to stay for the whole show, I understand time is complicated sometimes, right? You can't always clear your whole schedule, and I get that. So if you have a question and you want to make sure it gets answered, you can put it in that form as a Google Doc, and that way we make sure that we get your question answered. Also, if you're going to be around and you want to join us live on the Q&A portion and talk to us and ask us a question in real time, in person, we'd love to have you on the show. You can also fill out that same form and just note, hey, I want to come on the show and ask. And we'll pull you on, right? That's there so we can do that. Also, if you run into questions during the week, guys, hey, I have a link right on my website where you can leave me a question and we'll answer those as well. We do have one question tonight for the Q&A, so be sure to stick around for that after we get through the main part of the show and jump in. And if you're here and you don't want to be on the camera, I get that. Not everybody wants to be here. Not everybody can look as bad as I can. So, I'll carry it. It's fine. Be sure and put a QQ in front of your question. That helps my lovely wife, Sarah, to be sure and get that question and make sure that I see it as we're going through the show, guys. Jump in the conversation tonight. It's time you started to cultivate an attitude, not a bad attitude, not a weird attitude, but look, life can be hard sometimes. The last thing you need is your inner critic taking the wheel, getting on your case about every last little thing you're trying to do. We don't need that. We got enough stress, right? You don't need to beat yourself up. You don't need that nagging at you or just making your life more difficult. Why are you listening to someone who doesn't have your best interest at heart? And your inner critic certainly doesn't. Now it's time to change your inner or to challenge your inner critic and silence that voice. And it's going to take a little work. Okay. I'm not going to say this is a simple thing to do. It's not. I don't lie to you guys. You know better than that. Okay. It takes some work, but you can start to silence it. And the more you practice, it's a skill, the more you can just silence that inner critic. How? Well, I got some tried and true strategies for you. And we started with, you have to notice first, right? You actually have to start noticing when you're just hammering away yourself. Now, the second thing is you got to give it a nickname. Now, I know it sounds stupid. All right. Whenever your inner critic speaks up, give it a silly nickname. Think to yourself things like, hey, it's Moldivort, backing, causing trouble. By making fun of the voice, it's a whole lot harder to take it serious. Now, I know that sounds really dumb. Okay. But if you're a Harry Potter fan, then think of it as a non-magical version of ridiculous, right? Just wave your little wand and be like, ridiculous, and think of something stupid, call it. And it's a lot harder to take yourself serious, even your negative self, when you're making fun of it, right? Maybe you're a cartoon kind of person. I like cartoons. Over the Hedge, we'll call it Steve. All right. If you don't get that reference, go watch Over the Hedge. It was a great movie. And I'm curious what you do. Do you struggle with this? Am I the only one tonight who deals with an inner critic? Like, I'm a harsh critic of myself. It's probably one of my faults for sure, is I really struggle with being a critic of myself. And I don't think I'm alone. And you know what? If you're not feeling confident enough to put that in the comment, that's fine. But I want you to weigh that, because I don't think I'm the only one. I think this is a lot more common than we want to admit sometimes. Number 3, what about a voice? Okay, we already gave it a name. We realized it's there. We gave it a name. So try saying it out loud. Like, actually give it voice. You thought I was going to say a silly voice, didn't you? You give it like a Yoda voice, but stupid you are. But if you give it a cool voice, then you're going to want to listen to it and it's not going to work, right? So, give it a silly voice or just say it out loud, right? By giving voice of the thoughts, it takes it from in here and you actually hear it with your ears. And your ears, the auditory noises coming in through your ear, through that system, they don't go directly to your brain. Like, you've built up some resistance, some resilience over the years from mean kids on playgrounds and jackass coworkers. So, actually hear yourself say it and you'll start to hear just how stupid it sounds. Seriously. I mean, you wouldn't let anybody else talk to you the way you talk to yourself sometimes. Like I said, we have that built-in training, right? We've learned to kind of tune it out some, at least most of us have. I know some people still struggle with it. It's a work in progress, but get it out of your head. That's where it's really dangerous. And give it a voice so you can just go ahead and shut it down. Number 4, take a negativity break. How do we do that? Well, that's a valid question. So tell your inner critic that it can only come out to play at a particular time each day. Seriously, put it on your calendar, right? You weren't expecting that one? I love my calendar. Put it on your calendar. Okay. During that time, schedule it in there when you need a break during the day. Be like, you know what? 1:00, I could use a break. So at 1:00 to 1:15, I'm just going to let it go wild. And during that time, take a break and tell your inner critic to dump both barrels, man. Go full bore. Do their worst. Now, be sure to set a timer for the space allotted. Scheduling's important. So you don't give it more time than is necessary. You don't want to spend that much time playing in the negativity, but then sit back and let it speak his piece. The funny thing is, most of the time, if you just miss that inner critic and be like, nope. Your time is 1:00. Your time is not, you're not on the schedule yet. Siri disagrees. Most of the time, you won't even remember what it was the critic had to say by the time you get to your negativity break. Even if you do, when the timer goes off, remind yourself, you're done. Walk away, be like, see you tomorrow. We out. Nope. You had your 15 minutes of fame. You're done. Put it in its place. You're in control. You're talking to your brain. So you're in control. So make it wait in line. Everybody else has got to wait for your time, right? Everybody else has to abide by your schedule. Put it on your schedule. I promise it's going to take the punch out of it. Number 5, guys, and if this is helping you, do a comment, share it, whatever. Do the good social media nonsense. I don't care. Number 5, question everything. Is there any truth to what your inner critic is saying? Examine the statement. Examine the stats. Examine the evidence. Feel free to argue back. I argue with myself all the time. People think I'm crazy. I just walk around talking to myself, arguing with myself. I have great arguments with myself. And people think I'm just losing my mind. It's possible, though. Point out the flaws in your own reasoning and back it up with examples of times when you've proven those things aren't true. When that inner critic is like, man, you're dumb. Like, that's not what the evidence says. The stats don't line up on that. When it says you're not good enough, remind yourselves all the time. It's one of the things I've started doing at the behest of my business coach is I'm keeping a wins journal, right? Just a little thing. I have a scratch pad down, and when I have a win, I write it down. And so when I'm struggling during the week, right, if I hit a time where my inner critic's getting the best of me, or I'm feeling burned out or worn out, I go back to that wins journal and I look at the wins, and I look at some of the wins, and they're amazing to me. It's like, really, that happened? I got through that. I did that. Not a brag thing, guys, but look at the wins and use them and turn it around and go, inner voice, Steve, I don't think that's it. I don't think you're right. Evidence says otherwise. Question it all the time, because it really usually doesn't have a leg to stand on. Shirley says, sounding good. Thank you, Shirley. Good to see you tonight. Number 6, replace the words. Drop the negative words entirely and rewrite the script. Turn each negative into a positive. For example, instead of saying, I'm terrible at writing reports, it can become, I did a great job on the last report I wrote, and I'm not as comfortable doing these as I would like to, but you know what? I bet this one will be fine because I did fine on the last one. Change the words, change the conversation. I took a test today. Testing has never been my strong suit. I'm one of those people that starts getting really stressed out, and I get over analytical, and I start second guessing my answers, which usually makes them wrong. I probably have the right one to start out with, but I start second guessing and over analyzing the answers because I start getting stressed. And instead of dwelling on that today, right before the test, I practiced what I was telling you guys to do. I went, you know what? Instead of going, you know what? You stink at tests, Alan. You're bad at this. You're always bad at tests. I said, you know what? I can do this. It's not my best subject, or it's not my best type of thing, but you know what? I put in the work. I put in the time. I've got this. I know the answers. I'm just psyching myself out. I know the material. I'm stop buying this. Oh, I'm terrible. I'm terrible at tests. No, I told myself, tests are uncomfortable, but I know the material. Okay. Replace the words. Now, guys, if this is hitting a chord with you, let me jump in and say, do you know the Fallible Man does coaching? That's right. If you are at a point in your life where you're struggling to get past that next hurdle, or needing a helping hand, or just someone to walk with you to help you stay accountable, to help you stay on point, to look at things from a different perspective, head over to the website, www.thefallibleman.com, and you can schedule your discovery call with me. Guys, if I'm not the right person to tell you I'm the first person the right person to work with you, I'm the first person who's going to tell you that. And I'll send you over. I know several other coaches in the industry, and I will send you to one who might be a better fit for you. But the coaching call costs you nothing, or the discovery call costs you nothing. And let me help you walk through that difficulty. You already come hang out on Monday nights with me. You already listen to the podcast, maybe. Come work with me directly, and let's see what we can do to get you over that hurdle. Number 7, stop the thought. Now, this is an old psychology trick, and you've probably seen it in a bunch of old movies or old television shows. I know, I remember the first time I saw it was on an old MASH episode. For some, simply stopping negative thoughts in their tracks can be really helpful. This is known as thought stopping, and it can take the form of a lot of things. Something you may have seen before is people snapping a rubber band on their wrist. Right? That's something that we've seen on some television shows, and maybe you've actually experienced that in real life. You've seen somebody do that, hair tie or whatever kind of rubber band you want to do. But actually, like when you get locked in those thoughts, because some people get paralyzed in that thought. And so you need something a little more extreme to break the train of thought, because your trains are just strong. And you know what? That can be really difficult to break that thought. I know once my brain heads down the rabbit trail, it can be really hard to break away from that. Another less painful opportunity is visualizing a stop sign. This is something Dr. Christian Hyman and I talked about back in season 2 of the Fallible Man podcast, is actually visualizing this bright red stop sign. Simply change to another thought when a negative one enters your mind, right? If it's easy for you to change thoughts, just change thoughts. If it's not, here's a trick I actually like to do is I have a couple, I don't know, like daydreams, just stupid, silly daydreams, right? Riding my motorcycle down beautiful Sunset Highway, right? Places where I can go get mentally lost when I'm tired or stressed. And those are really easy for me to fall into because I go do them regularly when I need a mental break. So maybe build a separate escape route for yourself, right? Start building that in. Daydream about that same thing to where it becomes easy for you to daydream about. And not so much that you lose yourself daydreaming, but it's just simple to change your brain over to that thought because it's a comforting, happy thought for you. All right. Switch the flow, change it up, stop the negative thought in its tracks. This can be helpful with repetitive or extremely critical thoughts like I'm no good, or I'll never be able to do this, or I'll never be good enough for this. You just got to stop it in your tracks. Number 8, because I know I said 6, but I like to over deliver, guys. I just can't stop at 6 because this is a major topic. You guys are really quiet in the conversation tonight, but this is something a lot of us struggle with. And so we just have to stop and deal with it. Like I said, pull out that voice, make it sound like Buzz Lightyear or something, or Woody, and have some fun with it, or replace the bad with some good. This is one of the best routes to combat negative self-talk, and it's replacing it with something better. Take the negative thought and change it to something encouraging that's also accurate, right? We're just having a one-for-one exchange. We're going, oh, negative thought. You noticed it, right? That was the first time we talked about notice it. So you notice it. So intentionally switch your brain to something that's encouraging the minute it enters your head, right? Oh, I'm having that thought. Bam. This is what I'm going to, here's a good thought. Have a couple in your pocket that Repeat until you find yourself needing to do it less and less often. This works well with most bad habits, replacing unhealthy food with healthy food, right? We talked about that in dieting. It's a great way to develop a more positive way about thinking of yourself as instantly just going, oh, recognize, move to here. Recognize, move to here. Right. And the rest of these options can be a gateway to do this if you have a problem switching that thought. You guys, remember, silencing your inner critic is going to take time. It's going to take some energy. It's going to take effort. It's a lot easier for us to be negative than positive sometimes. This kind of voice doesn't just shut up because you told him to go away once either. It's not just like you were strong enough to go, yeah, you're dumb, stop it once, and Your inner voice is like, oh, you hurt my feelings, I'm out forever. Now, it doesn't work like that. Okay. You're going to have to do the work. Use a combination of these strategies. Find one that works for you, but use a combination of these strategies to make sure that you really have a good offense, or in this case, defense against its offense, until you're finally free of that little nasty voice. Once you've got it, though, your world will change enormously in some. Did I say it correctly? It sounded slurred. I promise I have not been drinking. Your world will change enormously in some pretty great ways after you get your inner critic under control and stop letting it hold you back. You're primed for success in a huge way once you push that out. So guys, give these a try. I'd love to hear if one resonated with you particularly. And we've got some Q&A tonight. So guys, that is the main purpose of tonight's show, but we're going to roll right into the Q&A section. You guys are way too easy on me tonight. You really are. We have this question submitted through the website. It says, what are some key factors that contribute to a successful relationship? So I'll try and go through these and not take a million years to do it. Successful relationships require effort and dedication from both partners. It's not a one-sided thing. It doesn't work that way. Some key factors that really contribute to the success of a relationship can include communication. Communication is essential for any healthy relationship. It's important to express your thoughts and feelings, your needs in a clear and respectful way. Good communication also involves active listening and being open to feedback from your partner. It also involves trust. Trust is the foundation for any relationship. Both partners should feel secure in the knowledge that they can rely on each other and that their partner has their best interest in mind. Number 3 requires respect. Mutual respect is crucial in any healthy relationship. This means treating your partner with kindness, with empathy, with understanding, even at times of disagreement. I know for men, respect is a very important issue for them to feel respected in the relationship. Women tend to lean into needing to feel loved a little more than men do, and men tend to lean into needing to feel a little more respect in the relationship. So, that's something cognizantly to think about, is the different needs inside the relationship. But respect is a big one for either person, especially for the guy. Shared values are right in there. Partners should have common values and goals for their relationship. Now, let me be really clear. This doesn't mean you have to be into the same thing. This doesn't mean you have to want to do exactly the same things as your partner. This doesn't mean you can't have your own things you like or are into or enjoy or are passionate about. It means that some of the core things, family, finances, where you're going as a family, future plans, that structure needs to have shared values. Quality time is another huge one. Spending quality time together is important for maintaining a strong connection. Also, spending some time apart is also really important. Both of you, while you're coming together in a relationship, are two separate people. So having some time to breathe and be your own person is also important. But spending quality time, that's why I say quality, not quantity. A lot of people mistake the two. Quality time and quantity time are not the same thing. And this can involve anything from a date night to small gestures like sending thoughtful text messages. That's more just staying connected throughout the day, guys, than actually quality time. So let me scratch that one. But this can be small date nights. This can be holding hands in the car or when you're walking. This can be making sure that you just schedule time to sit down and have coffee together. Quality time can be really powerful, and it doesn't always look the same for every couple. Sometimes for Sarah and I, quality time means going to the gun range and shooting the gun and drinking coffee, right? That's quality time for us. So you got to find what that looks like in your relationship. And finally, flexibility. Relationships require flexibility and compromise. like I said, you're two people sharing one space and one set of goals as a family besides your individuality. Both partners should be willing to adapt to each other's needs and be open to find solutions that work for both of them. It's two people coming in line for a common goal and intention, guys. By prioritizing these factors and working together, partners can be a really strong, healthy, and fulfilling relationship. And those are some key factors that contribute to a successful relationship. Now, I can go much deeper than that in my relationship coaching. That was just a quick response to some of the questions one of the questions that was asked, but we do go a lot deeper in the relationship coaching that I do. Guys, you're quiet tonight, but maybe it's because you are deep into what's going on here. If you know somebody this would be beneficial to, I think we all know people who struggle with that inner voice and that inner critic. Be sure and share this out. That's far more valuable to me than the likes or anything else. Share that with somebody who this will benefit. Okay. Watch out for your friends and care for the people you love. Share this with somebody who can use it. Be better tomorrow because of what you do today. We'll see you on the next one.